Hello there, YouTube. This is Charlie Burley back at you with another video. Guys, I'm really excited because I'm seeing the difference just even in a day at people's discipline with some of the training that we've been delivering. And, as I said in the other videos, it's not the strategy at this point. It's more of the personal understanding and discipline it takes to know what you're doing and to be consistent in doing so. And as I mentioned, the key with strategies alone is the strategy itself has to produce a consistency of or minimized risk and time management on its own. Now, again, this doesn't escape variance or any sort of losing sequences, but your strategy should be, for the most part, and this is what took the longest, is to craft the best strategy you can that reduces risk and time over time. All right. Now, with that, you still have to manage it, right? And so in this video, though, I want to talk about the lowest form of risk management, and that is flat betting. And the Shadow Max system that I have here with Diamond Buster, see if I can pull it up for you guys. Diamond Buster is, see, guys are making money. Diamond Buster, let's go here. You can actually play this strategy flat. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do in this video, however, is show you how to go about it. All right. So this is the Diamond Buster and Shadow Max trading. But again, the process of doing this is just essentially playing whatever it says on a flat bet scale. It's going to tell you what to play. But here is how you want to break down the flat betting, because it is the lowest form of risk. And the way that I've crafted this strategy, it can be played flat without high risk. So watch, so listen to the rest of obviously this video, and I'm going to break down the top 3 ways for flat bet strategies. All right, so number 1, shoe by shoe flat bet equity curve and max drawdowns. I used to teach this thing back in the day about thresholds, upper and lower thresholds. Of course, there's people who are adopting my strategies and my ways of risk management and a lot of their videos and a lot of their stuff, and it's good for them, and we all have to grow into some way. But I'm seeing people definitely taking what I've taught for years, and they're slowly coming to this understanding. Well, the point of thresholds is to determine what the system's capable of. All right. So what this flat bet equity curve and max drawdown is, this is what it says. This is the single most important test. For every shoe, I don't know why my screen keeps doing this. For every shoe you play flat, cumulative unit change hand by hand, highest profit peak, lowest drawdown valley, final results. Okay. Key matrices, maximum drawdown per shoe, peak to valley recovery size, how long recovery takes. That's essentially all that there really is. All right. And the way you do that, you play it at $1 flat bet. And what you're going to do, you're going to go through the shoe. You're going to see how high you were able to get and how low you went. And then you're not just going to do that for one shoe, because I know a lot of us think, oh man, I did 20 units on this one shoe. So guess what that means? It means we're going to do 20 units in the next one. No. Okay. What you want to do is do multiple shoes where you're looking at this particular metric, particularly with the Diamond Buster strategy. Okay. It is built. Well, it is a 1, 2, 3 progressive, I think, but you can play it out on a flat bet scale because it is designed to pick up streaks and patterns. So that's one of the reasons why you should definitely look at flat betting. But when you flat bet it, just don't go like some gambler and just start flat betting. Again, this is business. You don't just jump into business and go, oh, I'm in business now. Hey, who wants it? No, you don't just do that. You study your business. Otherwise, just throw your money away. Throw it away. Because that's what gambling's all about. Gambling's all about taking your money and your time and your risk and having no litness for it. All right. So go through not just one shoe, several shoes. Okay. I think the second slide talks more about this. Why this matters. This is still part one. Why this matters is a strategy isn't proven by final results. It is proven by how deep it falls before recovering. This test reveals, does recovery actually occur? Or does variance drain the bankroll slowly? Is this emotional or psychological? Is the emotional and psychological cost realistic? Okay. Now, we're not concerned about maximum drawdown. We just want to know what the base is. Okay. We want to know, all right, if the base drawdown is minus 20, okay, fine. What's the average lowest point? We don't want to know the low point. We're not driving ourselves down to that. Okay. We want to know what the lowest point is. So that way you can determine how much you can do in a shoe, how many units you can go for within a shoe before you should see a certain drawdown. More importantly, you should also test it. How does it look at the beginning of a shoe? I did a video talking about the top 10 reasons why you want to start at the beginning of a shoe. Now, with the flat betting, however, it's different because clusters and streaks and stuff like that, the system actually captures it. So you want to go through the entire shoe and see what your maximum highs are versus your average highs versus your average lows. So if you start noticing that in flat betting, you're typically able to get 3 units before you take losses on an average of, say, like 10 sets of 10 shoes. Don't just look at a shoe. You got to look at multiple shoes. And then you're going to do an average. Am I averaging 3 units, 2 units, 1 unit, 5 units, 10, whatever it is? What is the silver line? Because if you understand what that is, then now you know what your max win is or your stop win, and you also know what your stop loss is. All right. So you're going to go through a shoe, see how much you can get, see how low does it go, see how much you get before it goes low. And then you want to do multiple shoes that way. Take that data, compare it, and then create an average. So now you say, okay, based on what I see from flat betting, I typically can get X, Y, and Z units before taking a loss. Or if you should take a loss, what's the lowest it goes before it rebounds? Within a shoe or within multiple shoes? All right, let's continue. Actually, the next slide I think talks about that. 10 shoe cluster performance. Okay, exactly. Instead of judging shoes individually, test them in groups of 10 shoes. By the way, this information that this all came from AI. However, I actually gave it the information. So by the way, okay, so like words like variance, block analysis, that's AI stuff. But these top 3 reasons are the reasons that I gave them. Okay. Now, for each 10 shoe block. Now, why 10? Why not more than that? 10 shoes can represent anywhere between a day and 2 days of play. All right. So you kind of want to look at what that looks like. Do groups of 10. Okay. Not just 10 shoes. Do groups of 10. Look at the average within the group. Total units won, total units lost. Percentage of winning shoes. That's important. But it's only important as it relates to profitability per shoe. So even if you have a winning shoe, at what rate? 3 units, 2 units, 5 units, that sort of a thing. Worst losing streak inside of the block. Inside of 10 shoes, what was the worst it went? Inside of 10 shoes, what was the best it went? Okay. How many shoes did it take to recover? All right. So and this is just an analytics. This is analysis you're going to do. This is called studying your business before you jump into business. This is called going and getting your education before you apply for a job. How many of you just went for a job that you won't qualify for? You never studied for, you know nothing about, and you expect to get paid and hired. That's the crazy thing about gamblers. They think like that. Only here, though. I don't think they think this way in real life. Just here, where it's really easy to lose your money, and they tend to just really go far left in their thinking. So when you're thinking about 10 shoes clusters, you're thinking about it from a perspective of a day or two. All right. What does it look like? That way, it doesn't drain you emotionally, right? Because you already have analytics about what it is that you're doing. And this can be done on others. Like, you can use this process in other strategies, but particularly in the one that I've built with Diamond Buster, which is smashing because it picks up all the clusters and it picks up all the streaks. It does have areas of variance. Yes, it does. But for the most part, it picks up all streaks and clusters for the most part. So with that said, look at things in terms of a block. All right. You want to look at individual shoes. Yes. But you want to look at shoes in terms of blocks, because variance, I think it comes in the next shoe. Why this is critical: Baccarat profitability happens in clusters. Okay. Users don't lose from one bad shoe. They lose when 2 or 3 shoes stack together. Discipline breaks, bankroll collapses under cluster pressure. Now, the only way cluster pressure can even affect you is if you haven't done step 1. And that's go through each shoe to determine highs and lows. That's what's going to help you determine what? A stop loss. So then when you know that on the average, you're winning 5 units, and on the average before you, this just as an example, you know that on average, the lowest you go before you reach 3 units, 4 units, whatever the number is, you're going to have to do the study, because that, and the reason why you got to do the study is because everyone's going to play differently. Meaning some people are going to play for 30 minutes. Some people are going to play for an hour. What does that look like? And how many shoes does that look like? It just makes sense to study it first, than to just go do it. Now, I could tell you it works, but if you're going to be a professional at this, wouldn't you want to study it? You know, there's a friend of mine. I don't know if you guys heard of the group Snarky Puppy, and it's a guy. He's a keyboard player. His name's Corey Henry. Corey Henry, and I've known him for years. Corey Henry is a savant. He's a genius when it comes to keyboard playing. But don't you know what he did? He actually went to school. Like, this guy could listen to any song and play it. I mean, without even thinking about it, he could hear it once and play it. But don't you know what this guy actually did? He went to study what he was naturally great at. And you know what? Today, he's a Grammy Award winner. But had he not studied, he was good at what he did. But he went and studied, because that studying actually opened up more opportunities for him to play on bigger sets with bigger players. But if he did not study, even though he was great, he would have been stuck. So don't just say, oh, flat betting. Well, just jump in and go flat bet. We'll make all the money. I mean, you don't need none of this to think that way. Again, you could cut this off and just go do it. You don't need to pay anybody. You don't need to give anybody a dime. You don't even need to waste your time. You're even listening to people like me if you're going to gamble. It doesn't even make sense. All right. So again, you want to look at things in clusters, guys. All right. But before you get to this, you want to know what's the average high and low per shoe on average. Then you're going to see what it looks like in terms of clusters, like groups. What does it look like throughout the shoes for multiple shoes, particularly if you plan on playing throughout the shoe? Now, the reason why it actually kind of makes sense playing through the shoe is because it's flat betting. And in flat betting, like, it's different than the video that I done before, because flat betting, a lot of the streaks and stuff like that, they happen in the middle of a shoe, toward the end of a shoe. So flat betting is different than the other ways that we were doing it with progressive style bets. Okay. Flat betting is much different because you can actually manage much better. at least with Diamond Buster, flat betting it. Now, again, you have to go and don't have your expectations extremely high either. Oh, I'm a flat bet, so that means I'm gonna make all this. No. Use your money to compound, so you don't have to go for 8, 9, 10 units. Every time I say I don't feel like I'm doing nothing unless I'm winning all these units. That's gambling. That's gambling. That's gambling 101. Okay. And what's interesting is that when people use the software, I could see on the back end if you're gambling. I have the data. So it's easy to detect gambling. And unfortunately, most people gamble. They go way past stuff. It's crazy to me, guys, like how we let such an opportunity go to waste. Just because we just have this appetite for gambling. But anyway, guys, let's continue. Can the strategy survive cold periods? Does it rebound naturally in the next block, or does variance accelerate downward drift? All right, so this variance acceleration thing, this has everything to do with your strategy itself. Okay, the strategy itself needs to be able to master the multiple facets of the game that normally causes people to lose. Cluster streaks and reversals and all kind of stuff like that. You got to be able to understand. Your strategy needs to be able to manage through that. That's the reason why I'm saying. Now, this again, you don't have to do flat betting. Flat betting is the lowest form of risk, but it also takes the most time. Okay, it's the most time. Why? Because it's the lowest form of risk. So you're gonna have to arbitrate time for least amount of risk. Or if you want to arbitrate more risk, you're going to essentially reduce your time. That's the whole point of progressive systems. It's a time reduction measure, but you've got to study it because you got to know what it's capable of. You can't just say, well, my goal is 8 units a shoe. Okay, based on what? No, just because I want to. Well, good luck with that. All right, let's continue. Top 3, or number 3, stop at 2+ versus play full shoe. Now, this kind of goes back to a little bit of what we were talking about in the other video. Limited, less is more. All right, less is more. Even though it's not, again, that doesn't mean you stop at 2 units. It means that you discover what you are capable of. But you can do a metrics. You can say, how often am I able to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units before I take a hit? And if I took a hit after 2 units, how low did I go? If I took a hit after I made 1 unit, how low did it go? If I take a hit after 3 units, how low does it go on average? Track across 50 to 100 shoes. Total units earned in each method. Total drawdown exposure. Number of shoes that gave back profits. Emotional. So this is what it means. Like if you're at 3 units, all right, when you tested your shoes out, when you got to 3 units, how often were you able to make more? That's going to help you determine if you can go for more. Not just a whim, not just I have an idea. You have to have a metrics. Okay? So this reveals whether early exit preserves gains. Absolutely. Because it may not necessarily be something that you have to. Flat betting is different. This is different. That's the reason I'm telling you, if you're going to do this, study it first because it's different. You could do more flat betting. It's just going to cost you time. All right. But you need to know what you can do, what you are capable of. All right. Go through the shoe. What are the highs? What are the lows? On each high, 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, what was the drawdown? How low did you go before you reached that 1 unit on average? How low did you go before you reached that 2 units on average? Do things in clusters, sets of 10. It's like a days of trading. All right. And I know a lot of you guys probably didn't think, man, I didn't think gambling required us to think. I just thought we were supposed to come here and get lucky. Why do you think the casino industry makes billions? They're not looking at this from a perspective of luck. They're studying behavior, psychology, and they're playing against you. This is capitalism. This is capitalism. Period. It's just done in a casino. Okay. All right. So let's continue. Scenario A, play entire shoe flat. Scenario B, stop when shoe reaches 2 units. Well, again, you could. I'm not going to say stop. In your testing, you just want to make note where you are and what happened after those points. Okay. And that way, even though it says stop at 2, you might learn that you could be stopping at 4 or 5. Okay. But you want to have to go through the data analytics. All right, so let's continue. I'm almost done here, guys. I didn't mean to be this long. In many strategies, full shoe play equals more variance. Okay. 2 plus exit, fewer drawdowns, steadier compounding, but not always, as I mentioned. Where the strategy's true profit zone lives, where variance becomes destructive, where the users should lock profits early or continue to play. This is one of the highest value insights in flat betting. So the point here is that, yeah, you can get 2 units, but in flat betting, the variance part, you want to just go through, because the thing is, you may be able to do more than 2 units. Matter of fact, if you do a hit and run situation, like I'm a huge fan of making a unit, 2 units, getting off, making a unit, 2 units, getting off, because of this very reason: fewer drawdowns, less distraction. But the longer you're staying in a shoe, clearly, it's almost like, hey man, there's a 95% chance of rain. You'll never feel any of that rain if, for the most part, you're inside. But if you're outside the entire time, and you say, well, it's a 95% chance of rain, and it rained. That's because there's a 5% chance that it will rain. Not 95% chance that it won't, but let's say a 5% chance that it will. But if you're outside the entire time, don't get shocked that you were at that 5%. You'll never experience the rain not being outside. But just go outside enough to enjoy the weather, come back in. Don't stay until it hits 5%. All right, guys. So listen, man, I did not realize I was that late in the time. Hopefully this makes a lot of sense. ShadowMaxTrading.com. Go there. I think the trial may be up, but we've got guys starting to really do well and make a lot of earnings here. So, and again, I'm gonna try and do more theoretical teaching. It's not about strategy anymore. It's more about personal development, consistency, and growth through discipline. All right. And I'm going to be harping more on that the more and more we get into this. Until the next time, guys, thank y'all so much for watching. If you'd like to be a part of the team, go to ShadowMaxTrading.com, click on the contact us, and let us know you want to be a part of the winning trading team. It's a great time to do it at a time where money's starting to become scarce. This is the only market where it actually is a free and open market and not manipulated. Well, it is manipulated. That's the reason I tell you guys to play live. But for the most part, it's not manipulated by outside influences. The outcomes that are coming through those cards are legitimate, are real. All right, they're not manipulated like markets and stuff like that. That's the only reason I'm here. Otherwise, I would have been anything. I would have been doing something else. I'm thinking more long term, right? When other things fail, this will be around. So may as well. And then, as I said before, I don't know of any other product where you can scale and the variables that create losses stay the same. This is the only business that does that. With that said, guys, thank y'all so much for watching. ShadowMaxTrading.com. Until the next time, peace.